Peace, family. It's your brother Marc Lamont Hill. So good to see everybody here on the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel. Unfortunately, we're here because the world is still upside down, man. Israel has now waged war on Gaza for 110 consecutive days. I mean, honestly, the war on Gaza has gone on much longer than that, but the official war on Gaza is 110 days old. And because of that, we're here every day trying to give you the information, some latest updates, to offer you some analysis, to offer you stuff that everyday media, corporate media, mainstream media, American media, Western media, Zionist media, pro-Israel media, evangelical media, all the different types of media around the world don't offer. And so this is just an attempt to offer honest media, radical media, truth-telling media. That's what we're going to do here on the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel. Drop your name, drop your location, drop your city, your state, your country, where you're writing in from. We are a national and international platform, and we want to make sure that we hear from everybody. Also, hit the like button, smash up the likes so that YouTube knows that you're rocking with us. Let them algorithms know that this is content that you like, that you want, and that you need. In the meantime, let's get started with some of the most important stories that are going on in the region. All right. Israel and Hamas have tentatively agreed on exchanging Israeli captives for Palestinian prisoners during a 1-month ceasefire. This ceasefire is mediated by Egypt, by Qatar, and by, of course, the United States of America. This report comes out yesterday from Reuters. There are, however, significant differences about what a final status resolution to this particular piece of it would look like. We had talked about a 2-month truce. There was pushback about that. There was deep optimism on Monday that that would happen. Did not happen. There are considerable conversations to be had. It's unclear what the sticking points of the debate are, but as of now, we don't have a 2-month truce. Reports came out last night, oh, Hamas backed out. Then other people said, no, Netanyahu is being recalcitrant. It's important to get the facts and the details, and we don't know just yet. What we do know, though, is that there will be a 1-month ceasefire, and there will be a prisoner for captives swap. That's where we are now. Again, the more enduring, long-lasting ceasefire we have yet to see. Israeli forces have ordered more than 500,000 people to leave Khan Yunis in southern Gaza. That is according to the UNOCHA, that's the United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs. They've made this announcement. And the reason why they've been asked to leave Khan Yunis is unclear. The specific reason, they're going to say it's a security issue, it's a safety issue. They're going to say that this is the reason why they're the most moral army in the world, because they give people notice. The question, though, is when you ask 500,000 people to leave Khan Yunis, how do they leave? In terms of vehicles, do they leave on foot, leave on vehicle? Which routes do they take? Are those routes going to be safe? Because in the past, we've seen people go from north to south and be bombed and subjected to airstrikes, even in the area that they were told were safe zones. This is also what happened to my colleague, his son, Hamza. They were on safe routes when they got hit. And then the other question is, where do you go once you land, right? Once you go from this place to that place, what does that place look like? Is it safe? Is there shelter? Is it protected from flooding? Is it protected from more violence, more weaponry? These are the questions we have to ask. These are the questions we need to know the answer to. Palestinian photojournalist Motez Azaiza arrived in Qatar on Tuesday after evacuating Gaza. He said, I left Gaza with a broken heart and eyes filled with tears. Of course, Motez has been a warrior. He's been courageous, and he's been an artistic genius covering these issues. And so we want to keep covering this. At the same time, we don't want to just replace him. We want to think about what it means for someone as passionate and committed and grounded in Gaza as he is to be forced to leave. Columbia University barred several individuals accused of spraying pro-Palestine protesters with a foul-smelling chemical during a demonstration last week, the university's provost said in an email to affiliates on Monday night. That means, and I'll read the statement to you. The statement from the university said, the university received additional information Sunday night. As a result, the alleged perpetrators identified to the university were immediately banned from campus while the law enforcement investigation proceeds. Again, if you remember, there was a pro-Palestinian protest, and suddenly there were people spraying a hazardous chemical. Initially, people were kind of ignoring it. They said the kids were lying, the students were exaggerating, that this was more fake news. Turns out it wasn't fake news. Turns out it was a real chemical, a real hazard, and hopefully we'll get some responses here. Hopefully we'll get some responses here. Let's talk a little bit about the human toll. We always like to cover the numbers, as devastating as the numbers are. Part of what corporate media has done is ignore them. Almost 200 Palestinians have been killed and 354 Palestinians have been injured in the last 24 hours from Israeli attacks. I'm gonna say that number again. 200 have been killed and 354 have been injured just since yesterday at this time. That brings the number to well over 25,000. We're quickly moving toward 26,000 Palestinians killed, Gazans killed since October 7th. And that moves the number very close to 62,000 Palestinians have been injured, all from Israeli attacks during this time period. Again, that's according to the UNOCHA. On Monday, Israeli troops raided yet another hospital. If you look in Khan Yunis to the west, there's a hospital called El Khair Hospital. El Khair was raided. They arrested staff members. They told civilians to keep going, keep leaving, keep going, keep moving. And this is part of the bigger issue with Khan Yunis that the Israeli government is being somewhat cagey about. Raiding the hospital is step one. We saw this with other hospitals. Step two, of course, will be bombing the hospital, shooting up the hospital, or destroying the hospital. Over the last few months, we've seen hospitals buried in the dirt. We've seen universities crumbled. This is a crisis. This is a real crisis that we got to talk about and think about. And again, no case has been made for why this needed to happen. The U.S. military said in a post on X that its forces destroyed 2 Houthi anti-ship missiles on Wednesday. Again, no surprises here. The protracted, I was going to say ground battle, but it's a water battle in the Red Sea is one that we're going to continue to see as long as there's no ceasefire. Now, the Israeli army, to its credit, or from its perspective, said that 24 of its soldiers were killed during combat in northern Gaza on Monday. Now, that makes it the deadliest day that Israel has faced since October 7th, when around 1,200, we thought the number was 14, it's actually 1,200 Israelis were killed. Since then, we've seen almost no Israelis killed. We've seen some hostages killed through Israeli airstrikes and other means. We've seen a person here, a person there. Last night, 200 Palestinians were killed. Just for contrast again. Well, 24 soldiers were killed in combat in northern Gaza. Not civilians, not innocents, but in combat. I don't celebrate death. I don't find any joy in death. I mourn all death. Human life is precious. The reason why I'm pointing it out, though, is just to say, look at the imbalance of casualties here. 24 soldiers died in battle, making it the deadliest day for Israelis. They say for Israeli forces, but it's just a deadly day for Israelis, period. Whereas if 24 Palestinians died tomorrow, it would be considered a light day. And that is in and of itself a tragedy. The World Food Program, made an announcement yesterday saying that there's a significant risk of having pockets of famine in Gaza. Famine. So we've seen 1.7 of the 2.1 million people rendered internally displaced. They're homeless. They're unhoused. We've seen the vulnerability to violence. We've seen the lack of medical access. And now we see just another level. famine, outright famine. You know, a year ago when we were talking about famine in Somalia or, you know, other places, it was a tragedy that seemed very distant from what would be happening in Gaza or the West Bank or Israel proper. Famine is entirely avoidable here. There are humanitarian caravans, there are humanitarian vessels, there are humanitarian ships that want to provide food to Gaza, but they've been blocked or they've been denied security clearances, and as a result, or security assurances, and as a result, we got a problem, a significant problem. Famine is another level here. Um, anyway, we're going to run, but I wanted to give you some quick updates on some other things. The UN Secretary Antonio Guterres, UN Secretary General, has made it very clear once again to the Security Council that the only way there'll be peace is with a two-state solution. I don't agree with the two-state solution. At this point, I think it's just impossible. It's not an ideological dispute as much as it is a practical one. I don't think we can get to one. But Netanyahu has said there will be no Palestinian state. And so the response from Antonio Guterres is largely a response to a Netanyahu government that's now saying, we're done. We wash our hands of this. We don't want anything. We don't want anything. We're effectively going to have control of everything west of the Jordan River from now forward. It's a pretty dangerous game. And that's why we got to keep our eyes on this spotlight. I want to shout you out, Old Dirty Kung Fu. I've seen you on here a few times, but now you joined the channel. I appreciate you. I want to say shout out to everybody in the chat here who is paying attention, who is sending comments. We love you. We appreciate you. Hit the like button if you love and appreciate the channel. Also hit subscribe so that we can build up the platform even more. And of course, hit the join button if you're so inclined to become a member of the channel. We love when you do that. It allows you to provide monthly support to the channel at $3.99 a month or more. It's up to you. We appreciate it. And of course, if you're so inclined, you can also go to Cash App. You can just send $1 if that's all you have. But we love when you support the platform by going to Cash App, hitting $ MLHTV, because it allows us to build the platform, expand the voices, strengthen our technology, extend our reach, and do all the other things that make this platform valuable to you and to the broader global community. I want to thank y'all for watching, and I will see you here later today. In fact, at noon, I have a live debate with a Zionist from the Israeli advocacy movement. You want to see this. Join me back here at noon. Peace.